Hi there, I'm Alan from Green Age, and today we're going to be showing you how we carry out a non-domestic or a commercial EPC. We've come to a warehouse here, which is a very typical warehouse with an office attached to it, and we're going to show you around and look at some of the things we measure, what we look for, and how everything's put together. To start with, we come in here to the warehouse, and we're just going to talk through some of the main differences between doing a domestic EPC and doing a commercial EPC. So when you get an assessor arrive for a commercial EPC, one of the key things they're going to be looking for is how the property is zoned, so how you're using each space, and that will dictate how it goes into the software. So an area like this will be zoned as a warehouse. If you've got an office space with desks there, it's going to be zoned as office. If you've got a toilet block, it will be zoned as a toilet block. And this is one of the key ways that we actually price an EPC as an assessor. So when your assessor's talking to you on the phone and you're trying to agree a price for a commercial EPC, what they'll be doing is they'll be asking you, how many areas of the property have you got? Because if you've got a massive warehouse that's 8,000 square meters and it's just one big space, that's actually quite easy to do compared to doing a block of offices with lots of different rooms and different areas doing different things. So that's one of the key differences between doing a domestic and doing a commercial. We've come inside now to the boiler room, and what your assessor will do is they'll look at the boiler and get the model number off of that, just like you would in any domestic property. The key difference with a commercial EPC is that often you get bigger boilers, than this, and you'll get a huge boiler room with a big plant room with tanks everywhere. Either way, the important thing is that the assessor has to look and see what is there, and that all gets put into the software. Another key difference that you'll see in a commercial EPC is that your assessor will be looking at the AC units as well. So in a domestic property they'd be completely disregarded, but in a commercial space they're obviously really important because you've often got AC going all day long in the summer to keep your office workers or your warehouse workers happy. So they'll be recorded into the software as well. We've come upstairs now to the office space, and something I'd like to point out here is the lighting. So when your surveyor comes out and does the EPC, one of the things they'll be looking for is what type of lighting you've got in the space. This is really important because in a typical domestic EPC, you've got energy efficient lighting or you haven't, and that's what gets recorded into the software. With commercials, there's a lot more different types of lighting out there, lots of different efficiencies, and you're going to be using your lighting a lot more than you are at home. Office spaces are going to be in use all day long, sometimes they're 24-hour office spaces, and you're going to be using that lighting a lot of the time. So it's really important that what you've got is energy efficient. If we look at this particular lighting setup, this is a typical old-fashioned T8 fluorescent tube. These aren't amazingly efficient, although they're better than some. There's now LED models of these and T5s, which are a more efficient version of the tube light, and that's the sort of thing that your assessor is going to be looking for when they're out on the visit. The other thing that we can spot here is we mentioned earlier about air conditioning. This particular office has got an air conditioning unit, which we'll just show you there. Now, that's something we'll be looking out for as well. Particular models of AC, some are better than others, some are older than others. So your assessor will be looking for that as well. Just come over to another side of the office, and here we're going to have a look at the windows and the walls. A big part of any building is the fabric that surrounds it, so the roof, the walls, the glazing. These things are really important because that's where all the heat gets lost. So what we're looking at here is a standard double glaze unit. It's probably an older double glaze unit. The assessor will look at that, just check out what type of window it is, if you've got any sort of data on it or when it was installed or what sort of U value you've got on it, then obviously that would be helpful, but they'll be recording the type of window. The other thing your assessor will look for is the type of wall you have. Okay, so that's very similar to a domestic property as well. There'll be a measurement of the wall thickness, and they'll take a look at what type of wall there is, whether it's insulated or not, and that'll all get recorded in the software. So we've taken a look around the property. This is a really straightforward, simple EPC relative to some of the ones that you'll come across. I suppose one of the most important things to point out to you is that every commercial property is very different, and everyone will have its own particular requirements. So you just need to make sure you explain on the phone when you're speaking to your assessor exactly what you're looking for, what sort of property you have. Give them dimensions. If you have floor plans and you can send those over to the assessor, that's really helpful as well, because they'll be able to look at it and probably give you a better price than just giving you a finger in the air price over the phone as well. So that's really important. The other thing that you might want to bear in mind is access is absolutely crucial for carrying out an EPC. So if you're in a particular business where access could be difficult or dangerous, and you're going to need to go through various health and safety procedures before the assessor turns up, make sure you've got those in place, because if they turn up and they find that they can't get somewhere and can't do the job, then you're probably going to have a higher bill at the end of the day, and you're going to have to rearrange the appointment, and it's just wastes everyone's time. So really important in a commercial setting that the assessor can access everywhere, and you know exactly where they're going to need to go and what they need to do. So one more thing to mention is the pricing. We often get a lot of confused people calling us, wondering exactly how much a commercial EPC costs and why some people charge more than others. The simple answer is that because commercial EPCs are quite complicated compared to domestics, you will see a larger variation in price, and people will quote slightly differently. So the important thing to do is you can get a few quotes if you're nervous about the price. Try and make sure you provide as much information as possible to the assessor, and then you're going to get the best possible price that way. Generally, as a rule, you tend to see a starting price of around £100 to £120 for the most basic commercial EPC, and then prices will go upwards from there. And in some of the very largest jobs, you could even hit £1,000 for an EPC. So it varies greatly, and you should definitely call and speak to your surveyor before you agree anything. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching the video. I hope you found that informative. If you need any more information, or you've got any thoughts or comments, there's loads of social media that you can find us on. You find all the links there on the screen. Thanks a lot. Bye.